So in the midst of the failure, you're wrestling with what caused it. And for me as an analyzer, I analyze well, I solve problems, I wrestle with causes and effects. It's one of the things that I'm fairly good at. So there's the calling.
Yeah, for sure.
There's the calling. There's the spiritual direction that I believe God had given me. Now I'm questioning whether that's
real.
Yeah,
well, that's the
and
thing
then there's
about
the surface. There's the practical. What mistakes did I make to
yeah,
bring
well,
me to
that's
this
an
place?
unpacking of levels, right?
Yes.
I mean, did I fail because I made a strategic error, or did I fail because there's something fundamentally wrong with me at a very deep level? Every time someone who has a proclivity towards depression faces an obstacle or fails, they immediately move from contemplation of a mere strategic error to analysis of a fundamental characterological flaw.
Right.
Now, and so there's actually some rules for this. The rule is that if something happens to you that's negative, you should presume the least amount of error possible and then work downward. It's sort of like the presumption of innocence in the legal realm.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to take yourself apart any more than is necessary.
Sometimes we can become paralyzed in our failures. Instead of trying to understand what happened and kind of move on from it, we just become paralyzed and we don't know what to do next. And failure will always be part of the creative process and the creative industry because art is subjective. It's not like math. Your whole career is hinged on whether the people like the art or not. And that's completely subjective. There is no calculation that you can make that's going to make them like it or not like it. Now, of course, there are techniques. There's a 3-act structure. There's lighting. There's how you can do your dialogue. I mean, there are techniques that you can use, how you hold your brush, the colors that go together. All these things are important. But what Jordan was saying was so important. Going through those levels of analyzing your failures. I hate failure so much. I hate it. And that's why you see so many changes on this channel, because I always am trying to improve and do better and get better, especially when I'm not reaching the targets that I'm trying to reach. But whenever I failed, I always go through, okay, what happened strategically? What can I change? Because everything up in that realm of the least amount of error as possible, everything in that realm is changeable. I can change the lights. I can change the background. I can change the microphone. I can change the camera. I can do all of that. But once it comes down to a question of, should I even be on YouTube? Should I even be talking about these things? Am I in line with the will of God? Things like that. That's when things get a little bit more deep and I have to start restructuring how I'm thinking about my entire life or how I'm thinking about this portion of my life. Am I actually doing the right thing in the right way at the right time? And I feel like for creatives, they can go all the way down to the lowest rung and just say, I'm a failure. God didn't want this for me. I'm totally wrong here. I'm in the wrong place. But that's not the case. Sometimes it's just strategically like there are things going wrong in here. Don't quit. Do not quit. And that's my message here from what Jordan has said. Do not just throw in the towel and quit. Sometimes there are things you can fix. Sometimes it's a marketing issue. Sometimes it's a platform issue. Maybe you're supposed to be on Instagram, but you are trying so hard on YouTube. Consider what could be going wrong at the top strategically before you come down to God doesn't want this for me. I heard God wrong. This is not what I should be doing with my life. This is the wrong decision for me altogether. I'm getting out of this. Imagine what God would do with your life if you would not bow to failure, but would yield your entire life, your skills, your talents, your giftings to God and allow Him to help you succeed. Of course, you're going to hold your hand with God and going to work with Him as well, but allow Him to lead you and to help you to accomplish that which He would have you accomplish.